Have you ever just stared at a to-do list and felt completely paralyzed? If that's you, you're in the right place. Today, we are talking about productivity, but not in the way you're used to. We're going to build a whole new operating system for brains that run on creativity, novelty, and interest, not on boring old checklists. And this, right here, is the most important thing to get. If you've ever beat yourself up wondering, why can't I just be more disciplined, you need to let this sink in. The problem was never you. It wasn't about willpower. The problem is you've been trying to use the wrong user manual for your brain. It's a huge question, isn't it? I mean, you read the books, you download all the fancy apps, you make the color-coded lists, and then, like, a week later, you're right back where you started. You are so not alone in this, and there's a really clear reason why it keeps happening. Okay, so let's get right into it and tear down the biggest flaw in most productivity culture. It's all built on this myth, this idea that discipline is this one-size-fits-all solution. And honestly, that single assumption sets so many brilliant people up to feel like failures. This right here is the core assumption. Most productivity advice assumes your brain is like a computer that can just summon focus whenever you want and stick to some rigid plan. But what if your brain isn't built for that? What if it's more like a high-performance race car? This one flawed idea is where all that frustration and self-blame comes from. And look, this is not some small niche issue we're talking about. It's estimated that about 5% of adults have ADHD. That is a huge chunk of the population trying to run software that's just not compatible with their hardware. It's no wonder it keeps crashing. So, this brings us to the big idea for today. Your brain isn't broken. It's just running a different operating system. You know, like a Mac in a world of PCs. And just like any OS, it has its own rules, its own quirks, and its own incredible strengths. To get the most out of it, we first have to understand the why behind how it works. This chart shows a really critical shift in how we think about this. The term attention deficit is just wrong. It's not a lack of attention. People with ADHD can have incredible focus. It's a difference in how that attention gets regulated. The brain directs its powerful spotlight onto things that are interesting, new, or urgent. It's not a weakness. It's just a different way of processing the world around you. So what's the deal with that? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is dopamine. And forget what you've heard about it being just a pleasure chemical. Think of dopamine as the gas in your car, the engine for motivation. It's the little messenger in your brain that says, all right, let's do this thing. For the ADHD brain, that engine needs higher octane fuel, like interest or a challenge or something new to really get going, especially for a task that seems boring. And then you have the brain's management team, our executive functions. These are the skills that help us plan stuff, get organized, and just get started. In the ADHD brain, this team isn't lazy. It's more like a brilliant but kind of chaotic startup. Some days they are on fire, creating amazing things. And other days, it feels like the entire team went out for coffee at the same time and forgot to come back. Leading ADHD expert Dr. Russell Barkley really nails another huge part of this. It's not just about what you pay attention to, it's about how your brain actually experiences time itself. Yeah, this is a real thing, often called time blindness. For a lot of people with ADHD, time isn't a smooth line. There are basically only two times, now and not now. That deadline that's 2 weeks away, it lives in not now land. It doesn't feel real until suddenly it's tomorrow and it becomes very, very now. You can see how this makes planning things, tricky. Okay, so that's the why. We get it. Our brain has its own unique operating system. Now, for the fun part, let's get practical. It's time to open up the toolbox and look at the actual strategies, the how-to, that are designed to work with this kind of brain, not against it. First up, let's kill that awful feeling of being overwhelmed. The tool here is called task chunking. You take a big, scary task like write the report, and you break it down into ridiculously tiny physical actions. Your only job, your only goal, is to do the very first step. Open the document. That's it. You're not writing a report. You're just opening a file. See how that lowers the pressure? It gets the momentum going. Next, we need to completely throw out the idea of the 8-hour work marathon. For this kind of brain, that is a one-way ticket to burnout. The goal isn't endurance, it's agility. It's all about working with your brain's natural rhythm of attention, which means short, intense sprints followed by actual breaks where you recharge. A perfect example of this is the famous Pomodoro technique. You just work, super focused, for 25 minutes. Then you stop and you take a real 5-minute break. Get up, stretch, do something else. Now, these numbers aren't magic. You can play with them. Maybe it's 20 minutes of work and 5 minutes of break for you. The key is the rhythm. Focus, rest, focus, rest. Your environment is one of your most powerful tools. Because the ADHD brain tends to notice everything, you have to be intentional about creating a space for focus. This is all about reducing distractions. A clear desk, silent notifications, maybe some noise-canceling headphones. Every little thing you do to quiet the outside world frees up so much mental energy to focus on what actually matters. And of course, we can use technology as an external brain to help out that sometimes unreliable executive function team. Task managers remember all the steps, so you don't have to. Focus timers can turn work into a game, which gives you that little dopamine hit. And calendar tools help you actually see time, which is a huge weapon against that now/not now feeling. Okay, here's a weird one that is shockingly powerful. Body doubling. It's literally just working in the same room or on a video call with another person. They don't even have to be working on the same thing. Just their quiet presence creates this subtle sense of accountability that can make it so much easier to stay on task. Don't knock it till you try it. So how do we put all these pieces together? How do these tools become a system that actually works? Well, the main idea here is to stop thinking about discipline. The goal is to become an architect. You are designing a custom productivity system that is built just for you. A great place to start? Throw out that endless, soul-crushing to-do list. Seriously. Instead, every morning, just ask yourself, what are my top 3 most important tasks today? If you get just those 3 things done, the day is a win. This creates clarity and focus instead of that constant feeling of being behind. So when you boil it all down, your personal system really rests on these 3 simple principles. First, manage your energy, not just your time. Do the hard stuff when your brain is at its best. Second, always chunk it down. Make that first step so small you can't say no. And third, build momentum. Use a tiny 2-minute action just to get the ball rolling. And that's really the heart of it all. For years, you might have been trying to force a square peg into a round hole, feeling like you were the problem. You're not. The system was the problem. The goal isn't to change who you are. The goal is to design a system that fits you, your brain, and your unique way of thinking. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. For so long, it might have felt like a constant battle against your own mind. But what happens when you stop fighting and you start designing? What amazing things become possible when you finally have a system that works in harmony with your brain's natural strengths?